back with another 31 Days of Horror 2020 video and another Blumhouse movie. The third film of four that Blumhouse did for Amazon. And we went with Nocturne this time. And yes, I will say so far this may be my favorite of the three. But I'm music's major graduate, so I kind of related to it. Nocturne is about an incredibly gifted pianist who makes, bargain with the devil to essentially become number one. It's twin girls. One is obviously the more popular, the more successful, and the other one, who makes the deal with the devil essentially, is just as talented essentially, but for some reason is always, second chair. I look at this film as kind of being a Black Swan wannabe type thing. It's it's one of those things where it takes a slightly different approach to, that whole idea of fame and fortune, and the crossroads story, and making a deal with the devil in order, giving your soul up in order to be successful type thing, to achieve that greatness. But that being said, oddly enough, the film is written and directed by Zoo Quirk, who hasn't really done anything prior. And I'm kind of, I guess, part of this is part of the Blumhouse ideas to try and find, up and coming directors, new directors and such, and give them a chance. I'm surprised that they went with somebody so lacking in experience, I guess. But I don't know. You got to give everybody a chance, right? Essentially, in terms of characters in the film, it really revolves around the two twins. The successful twin is played by Madison Eisman. Now, both of these are young women, so I wasn't expecting to see a lot of stuff come up in their repertoires, and yet these two are actually quite well-rounded in terms of their horror presence. She started off with Ticket to the Haunted Mansion, ended up in Despair Sessions, Tales of Halloween, Ghost Squad, I Know Where Lizzie Is, The Rachels, Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, and the sequel, the new Jumanji movies, Goosebumps 2, Haunted Halloween, Annabelle Comes Home, to name but a few of the films that she was in. Pair it with the main person in the film, the twin that has to make the deal, Juliet, played by Sydney Sweeney, who also managed to find a career with all sorts of different types of genre outings, including her first film, ZMD, Zombies of Mass Destruction. She also went on to play in The Ward, like that was the Carpenter movie. Spiders, where she played Emily. The Unborn. The Horde. She was in The Dead Ant. It Happened Again Last Night. Relentless. Along Came the Devil, The Wrong Daughter, and several episodes of The Handmaid's Tale where she played Eden Spencer, among other things. So, both of the mains here are pretty well versed in terms of horror, oddly enough. I wasn't expecting to see that. That being said, it kind of shows. I mean, they're everybody in this particular film did a pretty decent job. Portraying what they're supposed to be portraying. The aspect that was a little weird for me in this was the whole devil aspect, because this one seemed to, if we hadn't seen Evil Eye prior to this, I may not relate it to Evil Eye, but it seemed like she was being like talked to by an evil eye type image, sort of like a eye sun type motif. But yes, so essentially the story starts off. The movie starts off with a young woman who clock chimes, and when it finished chiming, she's somehow scribbled all sorts of weird stuff on the wall, and she goes out to the balcony and jumps off and commits suicide. And that opens the way for the more successful twin to take her place. And what ends up happening is Juliet, the twin who's always left behind, finds the notebook of this original musician, and in it is a bunch of scribblings and drawings and stuff that she feels are her pathway to evolving this pact with Satan, essentially. Now, they don't say Satan or the devil or anything like that specifically. It's not really mentioned. Often isn't in these types of films. It's often related to madness. But again, this is another one of the cases of these new Blumhouse films are dealing with family, and this is sibling rivalry, and taking it to the next level. Is she insane, or is there some otherworldly power possessing her and giving her these powers and causing these things to happen? I would say this film had so far the most horrific imagery. It also went almost hippie-ish in a sense, with the whole, what I call the evil eye motif, the eye in a sun type thing coming out with a big yellow light. It almost seemed like it was, instead of Satan, it was more like God or Cthulhu or something like that talking to her, or maybe aliens or something. Like it didn't really have that scary, Satan type thing going on. As much as this is like a Faustian tale, it's also kind of more a drama than a horror. But I would say this one so far outside, short of the fact that the first one we watched was sort of about, like true crime. This one falls more into the horror aspects. We actually had some like ghost type stuff going on. We have some a little bit of gore going on, that type of stuff. There's actually some blood in this film, but it's all kind of it's very mild. So this is, again, I don't know that I'd be able to necessarily recommend this one to the regular horror group. If horror is your thing, this probably really isn't going to add to it. You'd be better off watching any of the other films that deal with this type of thing. Black Swan would be probably the most recent one that got huge popularity, and get more from it. And if you really wanted to go down that whole deal with the devil type thing, Crossroads is a great movie. It's not a horror film per se, but it is fantastic if you're into music and that whole idea. And it's cool to see Karate Kid shred. I'm just saying. But that being said, I don't know. I'm definitely at 2.5 out of 5 for this. I'm almost leaning towards 3, but it's still a little tame. I don't know. I would have had the whole interaction with Satan and the whole interaction with this other evil entity. I wish it seemed more evil. Like I said, the whole glowing light and all that kind of stuff, it seemed almost like she was talking to God rather than, the man down below. So, giving off mixed vibes there. I will say I did enjoy the music very much in this, both obviously the classical compositions that were performed, as well as the kind of nouveau, new agey type horror synth stuff that was done for the score. Was very different. It was very interesting, and I think the mixture of the two really went well together. But yeah, there's only one more Blumhouse film to go. I don't know if it's going to be any good, but I guess we'll see. Anyways, comment down below if you saw the film, what you thought of it. Keep it spoiler free as always. Thanks for watching. More 31 Days of Horror to come. Take care. Have a good one.